Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Arnold from U.S. Drug Test Centers, and I'm here to give you more updates on how to get ready for the DOT oral fluid testing changes. The changes have yet to be applied, but it's a good idea for employers and collection sites to start getting prepared. We're getting a lot of questions already, such as, what do I need to know, and what should I start doing now? Currently, it's still guesstimated that these changes will be implemented in the first quarter of 2024 for both employers and collection sites. So while we wait for these changes to occur, whether you're an employer or a collection site, you need to be prepared ahead of time. So let's talk about some of these changes so you're ready once we go live. If you're a collection site, knowledge is power. The more you can keep learning, the better. Collection sites with urine specimen collectors currently are going to need to have those collectors trained for oral fluid specimen collections, as well as still being trained and updated on the urine collections. So while it's not available at the moment, oral fluid collector training and proficiency demonstration will be required for all collectors when it does become available. Now, we still do need laboratories to be approved and start device training, as there will be new devices that will be used for this type of collection that are approved by the DOT. So we'll need the approved device, the collection supplies, the appropriate custody and control forms, and other items. So while it does all seem like a lot, we do recommend all collection sites to attend our informational webinar training, which can be found on our YouTube channel or on our website at usdrugtestcenters.com. Now, U.S. Drug Test Centers will also be hosting our next DOT oral fluid webinar training on November 15th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you are interested in joining us, U.S. Drug Test Centers can provide you the link to register for this important webinar. So let's talk about employers. For employers, it's also important that you start discussing the options and the procedures that you'll be doing about the oral fluid drug testing. If you aren't sure what the best option might be, start talking with us at U.S. Drug Test Centers. We can help answer your questions regarding all of these changes, as well as discussing your current drug-free workplace policy manual. Now, your drug-free workplace policies are also going to need to be updated with a simple addendum that's going to include information about the oral fluid drug testing as a new alternative. Now, as the employer, you can specify in your policy manual whether you're going to use oral fluid drug testing, urine drug testing, or a combination of both the oral fluid and the urine drug testing. So as the employer, you're going to start needing to think about drafting those ideas and certain things that we call standing orders so that the collection sites know whether you're going to use urine, oral fluid, or some combination of both. So if you're wondering what those standing orders are, first off, just to note again, oral fluid testing is an alternative specimen. So it's not replacing the urine, and it is the employer's choice if they want to switch to oral fluid testing, stay with urine testing, or do a combination of both. So the standing orders are what's going to specify what specimen is going to be used and under what circumstances there will be a switch to the alternative specimen, such as during a shy bladder process or if during post-accident you want something different than pre-employment. So it's very important that the employer communicates their standing orders to the collection sites, the labs, and their consortium or third-party administrator. Now, this is very important because when someone goes in for a drug test collection, the collection site needs to know what those standing orders are for your company. What's your choice for urine, oral fluid, or when they should switch to the alternative specimen? Now, with the updated DOT rules, 49 CFR Part 40, the DOT has made it very clear that the DER must remain available by phone 24/7 to answer any questions about the collection in case there are any, and there must be an accurate phone number required on the custody and control form or the CCF. Now, the standing order could be very simple. It could be used to always do oral fluid testing or always use urine. But many employers are going to be opting for a combination of both the urine and oral fluid. So here's an example of a standing order that an employer might provide to the collection site, the lab, and the TPA, such as U.S. Drug Test Centers, because we want to make sure that the communication is widespread so that everyone knows about it. Remember, This is just an example. So this is not a requirement, and there could be many different variations of this. So an example of a standing order might be, we use urine like we always have used urine as a specimen, except we will use oral fluid when in all cases requiring a direct observation. This would apply to all return to duty and follow-up testing cases because both of those types of testing actually require direct observation. Now, another example might be that oral fluid is required in all urine testing cases that go into a shy bladder process, where instead of allowing up to a 3-hour time frame for a urine specimen to be provided, an oral fluid sample is collected instead. Now, in all cases where a direct observation is required and the donor states that they identify as transgender or non-binary, oral fluid testing is actually now required. So this is part of the all-new revised DOT rule, which indicates that when a direct observation is required and the donor is stating that they identify as either transgender or non-binary, oral fluid must be used, and the standing order from the employer might also say that it's used. So, can employers administer their own oral fluid testing collections? Yes. Employers have always had the option to do in-house collection. But some employers have actually done urine collections for many years, but most employers really just don't want to get involved with collecting their own specimens. But as an employer, you'll be able to decide if your internal employees will be doing the collections, and if so, they'll need to be trained. So if they're doing urine collections now, they'll need to be trained for urine. But if they're going to be collecting for oral fluid, they'll need to be trained separately on the oral fluid training. And obviously, if they're going to be doing both, then they need to have 2 separate trainings, one for oral fluid and the other one for urine. So the oral fluid specimen training is not yet available because we're still waiting on devices. But when it becomes available, we will make that known so that if any of our employers decide to have internal employees complete the oral fluid collections, they can get them trained immediately. And when the time comes, when the lab's actually offering testing for oral fluid and you're going to be doing these in-house collections, you'll want to work with your consortium or your TPA or someone like U.S. Drug Test Centers to establish lab accounts and obtain specimen collection supplies to make sure that you're ready for those collections. So, this is only a brief summary of what you need to know and what you need to do to get prepared and get ready when the labs get certified and start offering oral fluid drug testing. Now, lab staff still need to apply and get certified with the FMCSA Department of Health and Human Services, and the specimen collection devices still need to be approved as well. So at U.S. Drug Test Centers, we will provide everything you need to know about the DOT oral fluid drug testing program. Don't be afraid to contact us with any questions or concerns you may have about these new changes. We're here to guide you through the process. We can be reached directly at 866-566-0261 for additional information and questions. Thank you for joining me today, and have a great day.